Right now, we need to move on to our custom app bar. So the first thing that we need to do, we need to go ahead and create a new component inside of our common folder, and we're going to call it custom app bar, and it has to be a dot file. So we have to create the widget. So here it's supposed to be a stateless widget, and let's give it a name, custom app bar, like that. And we need to import material. After importing material, now we need to work our widget. So here we need to return a container. That's the first thing that we need to do. So our container, we need to give it a width, and this width is going to be the width that we're going to get from our constants. After getting the width, we need to give it a little bit of padding. So here we're going to go ahead with symmetric. So we have a symmetric, and we need to manipulate horizontal side, and we need to give it a padding of 12. Since it's horizontal, let's go ahead and give it a W, and we need to get rid of these consts. If you're going to utilize screen utils in a line, then we don't need to put consts. And then we need to have vertical. So for vertical, we need to give it a 6, like that. So we need to go ahead and give it a height. So we're going to give it a height of 110. So let's cut this. Let's put padding first, and then we're going to have height. Let's just have height, and we're going to give it a height of 110. Okay, so let's format this. After that, we need to give it a color. So for our color, we're going to go with K Off-White, and we need to have a child. So our child is going to be another container. So inside of this container, we're going to require a child, and our child is going to be a row widget. Okay, so our row, we need to utilize main axis alignment. So for main axis alignment, we need to give it space between, and then we need to have our children. So for our children, we're going to have a circular avatar. That's the first. And right after that, we are going to have a column. We're going to have a column. So column takes in children. So our column is going to have main axis alignment, and we need to use main axis alignment dot end, and we also need cross axis alignment. So our cross axis alignment is going to be dot start, so it's going to be like that, and we need to wrap this column inside of a padding widget. So here we're going to utilize agencies dot only. So we need bottom, and we need to give it a padding of 6. So here it has to be dot h, and we need to have left, and we need to give it a padding of 8. Since it's on the horizontal axis, we have to give it a W. So in here, in our column, we're supposed to have 2 widgets, like the one for, like 2 text widgets, the one for delivering to and the address. Okay. So in here, before we have our text widget, let's go ahead and create a reusable text widget inside of our common. Okay, so reusable text, and it's going to be a dot file. At the same time, we need to create app style, because we don't want to be styling our components or our widgets over and over again. So here we need to create these 2, and then we can go ahead and put our text inside of our column. So here made a typo. It's supposed to be custom. Okay, like that. So we're going to start with the reusable text. So for the reusable text, we're going to use stateless widget, and let's give it a name. The name is supposed to be reusable text, and we need to import material. After importing material, in here, we're going to require two variables. The first one is going to be a string, which is the text that we're going to be consuming inside of our widget, and we're just going to call it text. And the next one is going to be a text style. So text style, we use text style to style our components, to style our widget. So forgive me there. It's just alternating between React Native and Flutter, so I might use the wrong one. So here we need to return a text. Okay. So here our text is supposed to be text like that, and our style is supposed to be style, and we need to add a little bit more. So we need to have max lines. So we're going to have max lines of 1. After max lines, we're going to require soft wrap. For soft wrap, we're going to set it to false, and we need to align our text. So we're going to require text align. So here we're going to align our text to the left. Okay, so it's supposed to be text align dot left like that. Okay, so we need to add this in our formal parameters. So we are done with this widget. The next thing that we need to do, we need to go ahead and handle this style. Okay, because we need to import it separately. Okay, so here we come to our style, to our app style. So instead of our app style, we're going to require a text style, and we have to give it a name. So the name has to be app style, and it's going to take in a number of parameters. So the first one is going to be a double. So this double is going to be of name size. After that, we require a color. So we are going to use color to manipulate the color of the text. And we're going to also require font weight. Okay, so for font weight, we're going to use it to manipulate the weight of the text. So in here, we're going to return Google Fonts. We're going to be using Google Fonts. It's supposed to be Google Fonts. So we need to import Google Fonts first. Okay, so let's check whether we have them installed first, but probably they're installed. So let's go to our pub/spec YAML. So in our pub/spec YAML, we do have Google Fonts here. So we just need to import them. So to import, we have to do it manually. Import package Google Fonts. Okay, so we've imported Google Fonts. So here we're going to, our Google Fonts is going to take in the font size, which is the size that we're going to get from our app style, and the color is going to be aligned to this color that we're taking from our app style as an argument, and the font weight is going to come from our argument. This FW is going to be our font weight. So we are done with these. So now we can close these two, the reusable text and the app style. We can also close our pub/spec YAML, and we can come to our column. So in our column, the first widget that we're going to require is the reusable text widget. Okay, so first we need a string. So this string is going to be the text that's going to appear on top, which is deliver to. Okay, and we need to go ahead and import our app style. Okay, so as for app style, we need to go ahead and have the size, the color, and the font weight. So it's going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be normal as others. So let's go ahead and give it a 13 as the size. And for the color, we're going to use K secondary. So K secondary is an orange color. And for the font weight, we're going to go with W600. So if we save, nothing will happen, okay? Because we haven't hooked it to our home pages yet. Next, we're going to have an address, okay? So for our address, we're not going to be utilizing our reusable text widget, but we're going to utilize a text widget. So for our text widget, we're going to take in a string. So this string is going to be an address. So we can write anything random. Okay. Let me just take what's given. So an address, you can write anything. It's okay. And we need to add another bracket here to style the text. This text, we're going to be using our app styles. That's why we created separately. We didn't add it to our reusable text widget. Okay. So here we need to change the size from 13 to a smaller size, which is 11. And for the color, we need to make it a little bit lighter. So we're going to give it a gray light. And for the font weight, we're going to make it normal like that. And we need to add some more parameters. So here we need to add overflow. If our address is bigger than the screen, we need to use text overflow dot ellipsis just to cut it off a little bit. Okay, so let's format our code. After formatting our code, we need to wrap this text widget inside of a size box. We need to just set constraints to our text. So here we're going to give it a width, and we're going to give it a width of width multiplied by 0 0.65. 0 0.65, okay, like that. Okay, so we're done with our text. Now we're going to focus on our circular avatar. So in our circular avatar, we're going to require radius. So we're going to supposed to be radius here, and we need to give it a radius of 25. After that, let's go ahead and give it a background color. So for starters, let's just go with K secondary, and then we can go on to add an image. Okay, so we're going to have a background image. So here we want to consume a network image. Okay, so we need to provide a URL. So for this one, the URL, you can pick a URL that you want to use. We're not going to provide images, especially for things like this when we are developing the UI. So I'm just going to go to my images. I do have a list of images that I use for profiles and stuff. I'm just going to pick one, go back to the project, and I'm going to paste the URL in here and then just save. So in here, we need to add consts everywhere in the file. Okay, that's wrong. Supposed to be add consts. Okay, so for this container, we need to add a margin. Okay, so our margin has to be agencies.only, and we want to manipulate the top. So at the top, we need to give it a 20, not a 12, but a 20. Okay, so that's it for that part. Next, we need to focus on whatever we are going to be displaying on this side, which is the date, not the date, but the time, whether it's evening, afternoon, or something like that. So here, the first thing that I'm just going to do, I'm just going to put a text widget. Okay, the texts, and this one we need to give it a style. In the style, we're going to consume text style. We just need to give it a font size, and we need to give it a font size of 35, something like that. So here we need to go to our browser, Emojipedia. Okay, so we can access Emojipedia. So here I'm going to look for the sun. My network is a little bit slow, so forgive me for that. We might need to be a little bit patient. We can take anything for now, since we are just designing, and then when we create the function for the date and time, then we can have the actual emojis that we need to put. Okay, so let's go back to our project, and let's just paste this, and let's just add consts like that. Okay, so that's going to be our custom app bar. So let's go ahead, visit our home page. In our home page, we do have our preferred size already, so we need to replace this container with the CustomAppBar that we just created like that, and we need to add const over here, and let's bring the child down below. Okay, seems like we do have an error. Okay, we are not getting the image here. So what we can do, let's go ahead and just get rid of the image first. Okay, let's see. We go back to our container, to our customer bar. So this is not supposed to be in here to begin with. It's supposed to be right outside of the the padding is going to be here. Yeah, okay. I still need to figure out the problem here because we don't have an image, so the error should be gone.